basically, you know, the whole movement started a while back. My cousins has been doing that certified pledge shit, and you know, I kind of carved the path for what I was able to do. But you know, back then I wasn't involved in no music shit, and I didn't really give a fuck about none of that. I was too busy out in the streets, you know, that's what I was focused on. But anyway, you know, one day me and Cuff decided to go get a studio, and we didn't know what the fuck we was doing with it. We kind of taught ourselves how to use it. You know, I started recording my cousins at the crib, and this way, you know, they could record it whenever they wanted to. They didn't have to be on a certain studio schedule or any of that shit. And I ended up recording a couple songs, and I fell in love with that shit. I found what I was breathing for, man, and you know what I'm saying, we got started with that Real Nature family shit, which was me, West One, Con G, Stunner, and Cuff. And you know, it was obviously, you know, it was all family, and the name Real Nature came from Dub N, you know, which was West 9th, that's the block we came from. And so we got started. We did the mixtape Holocaust. It was hosted by DJ Wax. And we dropped it, and this shit started really creating a good buzz for us, you know, like our city always kind of been divided by I-25, you know, West I-25 and East I-25. There's a lot of motherfuckers making noise East I-25, but you know, the West was real quiet, and it was like everybody was waiting on that shit. As soon as we popped out with it, there was just a lot of momentum behind it. And I didn't waste no time. I got right into my first solo album. It was called The Natural Born Hustler. And I got hooked up with a producer from Cali named Vitamin E from the Trapmaticians, and I just kind of flew right through that shit. You know, it was ready to go in 5 months. Little 13-track album. You know, and I think everybody, when we get into this rap shit, everybody kind of got this dream. You know, you think you're gonna drop an album, sell thousands of copies, and you know, send a couple demos to these A&Rs, get signed, and everything's just gonna happen overnight. And this is, you know, I realized how wrong I was when I dropped the Natural Born Hustler, man. And it really was disappointing to me, because, you know, I was kind of hoping that'd be kind of my way out. And, you know, I've been in them streets for a long time at this point. I know I'm treading on thin ice. I was one of the few motherfuckers that was left out of all the motherfuckers I grew up with and shit. So then we ended up doing the whole opposite, really. Now I know I need a budget to really make this shit happen, you know. So instead of getting off the streets, I'm in there going double as hard as I was before. I'm pulling the late night shifts now. I'm trying to do everything I can, because, you know, I realize, you know, we need a big budget to make this shit happen, you know, from traveling. You gotta pay to do all your own shit at first. Ain't nobody gonna pay you unless you invest in yourself. Nobody's gonna invest in you either, you know. So it's about the time I hooked up with my bro Antonio Valenzuela. Became my manager and a real close partner of mine too. And he had a whole little blueprint of what we was gonna do to make this shit happen. You know, we got to working, and I started working on a new album called The XYZs. This thing was all produced by Chef Premier mostly, and had a little bit of shit from Psalms Carter, a couple other motherfuckers. You know, I had a record on it, did a record with Face Mob, legendary Scarface, Lil Kiki, Flip. And we was kind of trying to target Texas with this album, because that was kind of part of our little plan. So we was going to go for every state and kind of do a project just targeting that state. And go try to repeat, do the same shit we did here in Denver, over there, you know. So you know, we started traveling, doing everything we had planned to do. I got a distribution thing going with The Orchard through my bro Tony De La Vora, and we dropped the XYZs through The Orchard on July 21st of this year. And when we dropped this shit, it really started booming now, you know, like we was making a lot of progress this time. You know, we weren't doing like crazy numbers or nothing, but this shit was actually selling, and you know, it felt good. We was making progress. When you're making progress, you know you're going in the right direction. And also, you know, start getting out in this spotlight. That spotlight's what you want as an artist, you know, it's a good thing. You know, everybody talking about you, everybody watching what you're doing, all that shit. You know, as a street motherfucker, that you don't want that. You know, I'm still out here and doing the same shit I was, so you know, it's not too great of a combination. Realizing, you know, with that spotlight, you know, that everybody sees you, not just the motherfuckers you want to see. So, you know, you got your enemies, you got the Jack Boys, all them type of motherfuckers. You're doing these shows, you're announcing to everybody where you're gonna be at that night. You know, it's just like an open invitation for these motherfuckers to come get you. So we're going doing these shows, we're going on some militant shit. You know, we're going like 30 deep. And we're planning how we're gonna go in, how we're gonna leave. We got motherfuckers watching everything the whole time. You know, it's just a recipe for disaster, man. Either way it goes, it's gonna turn out ugly. Then on top of that, you know, getting in that spotlight of, you know, these law enforcement agencies, you know, like, you know, gang units started getting onto our shit. You know, the DEA, the feds, all them motherfuckers. Because when you an artist, you a rapper, you an easy target. You know, it's not, you already got bad odds. And, you know, being in that game, and then you a rapper, you just becoming an easy target to them motherfuckers. And they get a budget, they get paid off the amount of arrests they do every year. So you know, they go after the easy targets. They're not gonna go after the hard motherfuckers to get. So, you know, I'm realizing, you know, at this point, like, this shit ain't good. You know, I start kind of losing my motivation on the music shit, cause that shit ain't paying the bills. You know, I know both things I can't do. And every time I started doubting myself and having second guesses on this music shit, something always seemed to happen to keep me going, man. And once again, it did. Tony Delavora, who was doing our distribution, he came up with a situation with a big label. You know, so this is what we've been working for, man. Everything we've been grinding for is finally at that point where we could finally step it up to the next level. So I'm like, fuck that, you know, I'm not gonna stop now. It's too late to turn back now. All I gotta do is just stick it out here a couple more months, and we make this shit happen. You know, I could leave it alone. I'm gonna be good. So, you know, that's when everything started. That's how I got the phone call from my bro Swift's mom. You know, she's like my son's dead. The feds killed him and shit. I can't believe this shit. I can't believe my ears, man. I was just talking to this motherfucker 15 minutes ago. I turn on the news and, you know, sure enough, there it is right there, man.
Police say the suspect pointed a gun at one of the officers, and so the officer opened fire. The shooting happened about 50 yards behind me here in the Overland Park parking lot. And as you can see, police expect to have this area taped off for most of the night. Witnesses who heard the gunfire called it frightening. Witnesses call the sound of gunfire unmistakable.
Just heard 2 big gunshots, maybe like shotgun gunshots, and then followed by 4 smaller, maybe like little pistol gunshots.
Max Marquez works across the street from the red crime scene tape. Inside of it, police say is the body of a suspect. They say they shot him after an undercover drug buy went wrong.
Once the uniform officers arrived on the scene, it was an undercover buy. But once the uniform officers arrived on the scene, the suspect produced a handgun at one of the uniform officers. That officer returned several shots, striking him, and he was pronounced shortly thereafter.
Chief Robert White telling the media the officer who fired the gun followed protocol, and he says he wanted to personally monitor the investigation.
I certainly want to check on his well-being and check on the status of the scenario to make sure that everything went according to our policies, and it certainly appeared that occurred.
The police presence in the area overwhelmed witnesses. They saw SWAT officers and squad cars everywhere.
Just going to make sure everyone was all right, and then kind of realized there was more gunshots, and then the cops came, you know, right after, so obviously it was more serious.
As officers collect evidence, inside a police car they say they have a key witness, a woman whose role in the drug buy is unclear. They say they have many questions as the investigation begins. Police say they don't expect to release the name of the suspect until tomorrow morning. At this point, we don't know what type of drugs were involved. At Platten, Florida, Justin Joseph, Fox 31, Denver.
first off, I'm sad as fuck, cause it's my partner. I'm in a fucked up place right now. It's the second motherfucker I known that something like this happened to me. I died under the hands of the police, man. But you know, it's not hard for it to happen. You think you pulling up to do something, a bunch of motherfuckers jump out with guns, running towards you in regular clothes. You're gonna assume what you're gonna assume and react. You know, and that's what homie did. You know, so that's what happened to him. On top of that, I'm paranoid as fuck too, cause you know this my right hand man. I know how I seen these situations happen over and over. I know, it's never just a one person type of deal. You know, I didn't sleep for like a week after this shit. I kept expecting these motherfuckers to show up for me. I'm in the rear view. I don't want to talk to nobody. I'm just paranoid as fuck. You know, days went by, weeks went by, months went by, nothing happened. So I started thinking, you know, once again, I seem to get lucky somehow and slip through this shit like I've done so many times. You know, at this point, I'm done with everything. You know, like this life-changing experience for me. So my hand's been clean for a while now, and I think, you know, it's all good because this music shit's going on the right track. So I don't need that shit anymore anyway. And you know, and then I had something else coming for me though.
Ricky Knox was indicted October 19, 2014 by the United States District Court, along with 30 others under the alleged charges of knowingly and intentionally conspiring to distribute and possess with the intent to distribute a Schedule Control II substance. Conspiracy to distribute is a criminal charge used in some drug trafficking cases where a prosecutor has evidence that two or more people conspire to distribute drugs. So you don't even have to be caught doing it, you're just as guilty for simply planning to. This is usually proven by wiretaps on phone calls. An important thing to note about conspiracy charges is that people in the conspiracy can often be charged with criminal actions committed by a co-defendant in the process of furthering the conspiracy. All co-defendants charged with conspiracy to distribute, for example, could be charged with murder if one of them kills someone in the course of a drug deal going wrong. Conspiracy charges can be a very effective but unfair law enforcement tool for striking to the heart of groups involved in drug manufacturing and sales. And the ability to charge everyone involved with like charges is an important component of the conspiracy charge. In Ricky Knox's case, he was facing a minimum of 15 years with a maximum of life, which is a similar sentence for second-degree murder.
That's why I wake up and I hear them all outside, you know, come out on their little speaker, come out with your hands up, whoop-de-woo, all that bullshit. I look out there, man, there they are, you know, it's the SWAT team, the DEA. I thought it was just a bad dream, man, but anyway, they come in, search my whole house, doing all that bullshit. I'm thinking in my head like it's gonna be all good because they're gonna see there ain't shit here. If they've been paying any attention, they're gonna know that I ain't been doing shit for so long. So I figure everything's gonna be fine, man. But next thing you know it, I'm on my way downtown to the U.S. Marshals, and it's fucked up. You know, at this point, I'm starting to think like, you know, what did I do wrong? How the fuck I end up over here? I realized that it didn't really matter, you know, it was just a game that I was playing to lose no matter what. I took every precaution there was. You know, you change your number every month, that don't matter unless everybody else that you talk to on that phone changes their number too. All they gotta do is listen to the other motherfuckers shit. As soon as you call them, they got your new number. You know, you got these stupid ass codes and shit, you think that helps, that just makes shit worse for you. You got motherfuckers telling you to bring you the CD every day or whatever the fuck. They don't know what that is, but they're gonna assume and put on there whatever they want to say it is. You know, what is it? Ball, zip, bird. You know, they just make their assumption on whatever the fuck it is. And it's when the guideline chart comes into play. So, you know, on the guideline chart, they got, you know, the first row is the points. Their little point system. Anything you ever did, you know, even like a petty weed case, any of that bullshit, you get a point on for that shit. So you got all that up at the top of the list, and then on the side you got the amounts. So the amounts is however long they've been listening to you. And you know, this is when all them codes and shit come into play. You know, so they add up everything that they can prove that you conspired to distribute. So each number ends up on the side, and then there's a box in the middle of it with an amount of months of where you're at. So they say you move 500 keys in the time they were listening to you. You got 20 points here, so pal, now you're looking at 10 years. And then the minimum mandatories come into play. So if it's any time under the minimum mandatory, then you got to go do the minimum mandatory no matter what.
In federal cases, the judge has no choice but to impose a minimum mandatory sentence on the defendant unless he cooperates with the DA. In other words, he has to snitch. And with a 99% conviction rate, you don't want to gamble with taking the Fed case to trial, which if you lost, you could get the life sentence. This would leave Knotts, who would rather go do 15 years than to go work with the feds doing similar time to a murderer over a couple phone calls. Is this really justice? It's almost similar to what Hitler did, throwing all the Jews in concentration camps, only it's not being done to just a race, but instead a class of people.
And if it goes over that, then obviously you gotta go do over that. So then I start thinking, what if the motherfuckers just wouldn't have been on the phone? That don't matter either. Then these motherfuckers just follow you around, either catch you red-handed or catch somebody you're fucking with red-handed, and then they get them to go cop something from you. And in the end, it's just something you're playing to lose, And they take everything you got. You think you're slick because you got things in different people's names. That don't matter. These motherfuckers ain't stupid. They follow you around for 2 years. They figure out what's yours, man. They'll take anything right off your driveway, take all your money, anything.
Since Congress created mandatory minimum sentences for drug crimes in the 80s, the federal prison population has grown from 24,000 prisoners to over 214,000 prisoners, the largest prison system in the country. 1 in every 100 Americans are either in prison or jail. Sentences for both nonviolent and violent crimes have grown at roughly the same rate, costing taxpayers billions. Prisoners released in 2009 served sentences that were on average 36% longer than those of offenders released in 1990. Over 2.7 million children have a parent behind bars in the U.S. The federal prison system is overcrowded by almost 40%. There is no parole in the federal criminal system. All federal prisoners are required to serve at least 85% of their sentence. The United States has more than 2.3 million people behind bars. That's more than any other country in the world. Do the statistics. Sound like land of the free?
Yeah, so from here I just keep pushing, man. I truly believe that God makes shit happen to certain motherfuckers to turn them into the motherfuckers He wants them to be. So they could lock up my body and shit, they can't lock my mind up, man. So I'm still keep going 100. Everybody's telling me your career is over. By the time you get out, you're gonna be 40-some years old. You can forget about it. I'll tell you this though, man. What don't kill me makes me better. Yeah, so I've been in the lab every night. I got a bunch of new shit for you. I'm gonna have, this music's gonna be some real sick shit too. I'm in a whole nother place right now, so it's gonna be some real music. And I'm just gonna keep on pushing. I'll find a way to, if I got to, I'll record shit off the phone in jail. It don't matter, man. But I promise you one thing: I'm gonna keep my foot on your throat. You're gonna keep hearing that Knotts, and whether you want to or not, it's far from over. Yeah, man. First off, just dream. Chase your dreams, make them dreams happen, man. You ain't gotta fall into this shit. They want you to. This war on drugs, it's $1 billion industry, man. And, every war needs an enemy. Don't become the enemy, man. Go to school, start a career, do something great, man. There's a whole world outside the projects and the hood, man. I'll tell you that right now. In case you probably like me and you ain't gonna listen to one word I just told you. So if you go hustle, then hustle, but hustle for a reason, man. Don't just hustle to hustle. Fuck popping bottles, fuck all the jewelry, fuck the cars, all that stupid shit. Comes and goes, man. It's gone the next night. It happened to me, trust me. Hustle for a reason, man. Use that shit to take you somewhere else. Go in and out. I ain't even gonna lie. My music career probably wouldn't have got half as far as it did without the hustle, man. But, you know, so if you gonna hustle, then do that shit for a reason, man. Hustle for a better tomorrow. Don't hustle like there ain't no tomorrow. Fucking stay blessed, stay strong. Always put God first, man. Sky's the limit. Yeah, man, so if you want to support me, you know, first and foremost, keep that Ricky Knott shit banging out here, man. You know, keep that shit on repeat. You can also go cop my album, The XYZs. It's available on Google Play, Amazon.com, iTunes, pretty much anywhere online. It's real easy to find. You can just Google Ricky Knott's XYZs. You could also go to my website, www.rickyknotts.com. The link's right there to get it. Yeah, man, you know, keep that shit going, man. You already know. It's your boy Knotts 100.
Dying in a bin, no trial, that's a fight you can't win. So fuck boy, got the toad on about 2 years back. Kingpin of the trap feds, had his OD shit tap. God, please get these cuffs off of me. I would've took another route, but I had to eat. God forgave him, but the judge won't. He went sin, could catch the first star, more jazz. Get that man one more chance.